Hey guys, it's teacher Rayyan. If you guys have been in the center on Monday or do online Kumon, there's a good chance you might have seen me. But if you haven't, here's a quick picture of me. But anyways, enough about me. Today, we are talking about the key to making school easier. I'm going to break this video into three parts. First, we're going to talk about conquering test anxiety, which is a problem I used to have and a lot of people have. Next, we're going to talk about better time management. And finally, we're going to get into staying motivated throughout the school year. I think we can all agree that unless you're these guys, no matter who you are, how smart you are, tests can be very stressful. And you've probably been stressed before you've taken a test. So I'm going to be talking about a couple of ways to reduce that. Alright, so number one, and most important, is before your test, your final test study session, make sure you create an environment that mimics what your test is going to be like. So if your test is 30 minutes long, make sure you set a timer for 30 minutes and do like a certain amount of problems in that time. Alright, the second tip I have is before the test, the night before the test, make sure you're doing something that you enjoy, whether it be exercising, painting, watching Netflix. For me, I personally like to go out and like go for a jog or go play some basketball. But do something to get your mind off of the test because if your mind's just going to be on the test all night, you're not going to get any sleep. And sleep is really, really important to doing good on a test. I'll get more into that later. And lastly, guys, do not cram the night before. There have been several studies done on all the way from humans to gorillas and chimpanzees that cramming for a test the night before, it does not yield the best results. Speaking of not cramming at the last moment, that kind of brings us to our second topic about time management. So, a couple of quick and easy tips for time management. First, put your phone away when you're studying. Throw it on your bed, maybe put it in a different room, because when it's time to study, it's only time to study. Now, I'm not saying to just completely give up your phone for 6 hours and study for 6 hours in a row, because that can actually be more harmful than good. And that actually brings me to my next point. Don't overload yourself with studying. How many of you guys have just walked into a class, first 20, 25 minutes, you're fully attentive, you're listening to the teacher, you're taking notes, you're understanding everything. And then right about after that 30-minute mark, you start to feel like you're not understanding stuff after the first time. Everything's just going in one ear, out the other. That's because it's scientifically proven that the human brain can't focus for more than 25 to 30 minutes, or at least if you don't train it to. So when you go and you study, do this. Study 25 minutes. Fully study, don't let anything distract you. And then give 5 to 10 minutes for your brain to recharge. Your brain is kind of like a battery. It's all used up in 25 minutes, but it only takes 5 to 10 minutes to recharge it to full battery. And then you can go ahead and use it again for the next 25 minutes. But if you go and you study for 2 hours in a row without a break, and you're just like checking your phone constantly throughout the time, you're not giving your brain a break, and it's just running at 0% power the whole time, which means that your study time is not really that effective. So this method is actually called the Pomodoro method. I'm going to put it on the screen. You guys can pause it, maybe take a picture of it. But this is generally how I started to study during high school, and it helped me a lot. Okay, final point, staying motivated. Now, this is probably the most important point of this video because if you're not motivated to study, then the rest of this video is basically worthless because you're not going to study, right? So the main way that I stayed motivated to study during high school and even right now is to reward myself after a good study session or after a hard test. These rewards can include, for me, I like to go out and get food, or I like to go and watch a movie with my friends. And this is something scientists call positive reinforcement. If you have a dog, most likely you've had to train it, whether it be like telling it to sit down or telling it to stop barking. And when it listens to you, what do? You give it a treat or you give it a belly rub, right? That's called positive reinforcement. It knows that when it sits down, it's going to get something it likes. Same thing with studying. If you, right after a study session, do something you like, And that'll actually motivate you to study because you know that if you spend a certain amount of time studying, you're going to get a reward. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, you learned something.